dive deep into it or not, and we're happy.
But nobody can ever take away your love and your wisdom.
And where does that leave you now as far as the lesson? And that's huge self-recognition and growth. So congratulations over the past few years on that. Where does that leave you now, like looking back as far as what you want to do and where you see now your contribution to, the people that are listening? Where do you see yourself now with that mark you want to leave?
Well, the main gig I have is being a father. That's the main gig, and of course that also includes being a husband. It's me and my wife are a tag team. That's the journey we're in. That's the real job. Raising our children, giving them a life and all that, and doing the best. Work-wise, there's a lot. We just finished our 2017 tour. Right now, I'm resting, and I decided to celebrate the end of my tour with a 17-mile run. So, and, I'm writing a book, with my dear friend Heather Ashamara, and then I'm working on just starting another project, which may be a book. Who knows? We'll find out. The funny thing about it is that this year has been a lot more touring, so it's been hard to see what's further down the field because everything is present.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed where I've come from, because when I first started touring or doing this kind of work in this way about 11 years ago, the people who would be in attendance would be either 5 people or 0. That's the average. I would be delighted or elated if I had 15 or 20 people. That was like a huge crowd for me. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, and we just did an event where it was 450 people.
Congratulations!
A couple of places,
wow,
and we just went to these places. I still have a couple of places where I have about 75 or 100 people.
Thank you for saying that, because so many people starting off on the journey like this, they're always so afraid because they're like, 0 or 5 people, but those 5 people are going to roll into that 450 if you just stay consistent with it. So thank you for saying that.
You're going to follow through.
Yeah.
It's all about following through. My father, when he first started in 1986, he only had 5 people in his class.
Wow.
And he did a lot of this touring, and this is before the internet, before Instagram or social media or websites. His was truly a word of mouth type of thing, and the only way to generate word of mouth is to actually show up. Mm-hmm. Even if there's only one person, show up. I've been to places where there was 0 people. I stayed in that room until time went over.
Ah, interesting. Yes.
Yeah. The best with what you've got.
Yeah.
Got it.
And it's like, if you're expecting a huge crowd and you only get 3 people, you don't do a half-ass presentation. You do it.
Yeah.
You reckon it. And it took me a long time to realize that when you give a lecture, if you focus on trying to keep everyone in their seats and not having people walk out, you're wasting your time. Focus your attention on the people who are on their seat and giving you your attention. Mm-hmm. Focus on them.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's this level of energy that just takes you in so many directions. To me, it's always been a success. That's follow through. That's like I was saying earlier today. The key to enlightenment is effort. Effort. There are very few people in the world that requires very little effort. Life gives them that opportunity, which is great. There's nothing wrong, but they still follow through. Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes you work very hard, and you still have that. Life gives us so many different paths to all of us, and it's going to look dramatically different. That's what my grandmother said. My grandmother used to have an audience of about 95 people, and she was delighted because her grandfather barely had 5. The whole time he taught. Mm-hmm. But now they're the same. Of course, he had a bigger audience with music. He had people knew who he was. Even like the story, that the reason why the family went from Catlan, Jalisco, which is just outside of Guadalajara, and landed in Tijuana, Mexico, is because President Lázaro Cárdenas of Mexico wanted more Mexican music in the Tijuana area, so he gave the order of sending an orchestra to play Mexican melodies into Tijuana, and the band leader of that orchestra was my great grandfather.
Wow, interesting.
That's how we landed in Tijuana. That's how my grandmother arrived there. She crossed the border into San Diego, opened up a small little temple there, and boom.
So fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's always, that's the key. You know, I would
It's
say
the journey.
if anyone's starting out, let go of the idea of success and just follow through. I have nephews who want to be authors, and the advice I give them is this: it's not a guarantee you're going to have success. In fact, most likely you won't have it. You're going to fail. Accept that. Let me know once you accept it. And I say, Uncle, I accept it. All right. Now, why are you going to do it? Because I like it. I'm like, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we do it.
Yeah.
Because we like it.
Yeah.
Let go of the idea of success, because success is going to look dramatically different. Nowadays, it's about how many people like you on Instagram or whatever. That's going to change in 10 years.
It's so much work.
It'll always change. Success is a beautiful angel of billions of faces.
Yeah.
And it'll look dramatically different, as unique as you. So if you're going to be an author or a lecturer or whatever, first accept you're not going to be successful. With that, you let go of this end result,
Mm-hmm.
and ask yourself, why are you still doing it? If the answer is because I love it, I enjoy it, I like it, or anything like that, then that's the reason to do it.
Yeah. I have
That's the reason,
goosebumps.
that's the motivators called passion. And when you have passion, you follow through.
Yeah.
That's when we first start. You know, I had a baby boy and a baby girl during those years where I would be going on tour, and I would break even. For me, going on a presentation and breaking even was a delight. It meant that I didn't lose money. You know, I was able to have, but I still had to find work somewhere else. Then little by little, it just became balance until like it became this.
Uh-huh.
You follow through. You know, I tell my nephews, take care of your body, take a job that's going to allow you to feed you, nourish you, give you shelter, and when you have time, you're going to make time, work on that book. If you write a 1,000 words a day, or even 500 words a day, by the end of the year, you'll have a novel.
Mm-hmm.
Follow through.
Yeah.
And you know, to be able to focus on your writing without having to worry about work, it's a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
A luxury that my father has, because after the book, The Four Agreements, is about to have a 20-year anniversary.
Wow.
And that was the fruit of 11 years of him working very hard to reach that point, and then going out there and promoting it and reaching it, and for us, it's introducing it.
Uh-huh.
Same thing with us. You know, for me, some people say, "Well, you're lucky. You're Don Miguel Ruiz Jr." I'm like, "Yep, that's my blessing and my curse."
Right. Absolutely.
The blessing is I get an opportunity, but I have to live up to a certain expectation that people have.
Mm-hmm.
The moment I realize I don't have to live up to it, that it's me who's walking through that, it's up to me whether or not someone gives me a second opportunity or third opportunity.
Yeah.
Like when I wrote my book and it's hit number one on its particular genre, to me, I don't see it as success. I'm like, oh, it means I've got the green light to continue doing what I'm doing.
Oh, I like
That's
that.
how I see it.
Got it.
I like that.
When my books have reached that number, it just simply means that I've gotten the opportunity to continue to work.
I like that.
It's just, okay, life gave me the green light, let's continue to follow through.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the advice I would give anyone, not just as an author or a musician or a doctor or anything. Is what is the thing that's going to drive you to do what you love to do? Is it going to be, does it require you to cross thresholds that your mind said you couldn't? Or is it not even a question? Why are you going to do it? And to me, that's where my hero, Tony Gwynn, taught me, you know, being born and raised in San Diego. Tony Gwynn was my guy. And he was a man who enjoyed so much what he did that he was the first one to get to practice. He was the last one to leave it to practice. And the reason why is because he went to practice so he could hone his craft. So when the opportunity comes to practice his craft, he can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. We practice our craft. So when life gives us the opportunity to let it go, let go. Like, for example, I run marathons. I go and I train so that on that Sunday, I let loose.
Nice.
Because there's no other race. I don't have to worry about it. Like that day, let it all out.
Yeah.
Let it all out. Because that's the result of all the work I did before. To hone the perfection. Same thing when I go to a presentation. When I'm about to get on stage, I got this opportunity. And when I first started, I would run out of things 15 minutes into a 2-hour class.
Really?
And I did my very best to, like, it was like spurts after spurt after spurt after spurt after spurt. Now I can easily talk for 3 hours without stopping.
Wow. Wow. That's fantastic.
I was just going to ask yourself, so if you were looking back at yourself at 20, 30 years old with where you're at now, seeing that, what advice would you give for yourself?
Don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing, just follow through.
I like
And it's the advice I would give him actually would be in relationships rather than work, because the work ethic, I always had that. I always had that desire to do the best and just do it. It would be in relationships, and it would be see it from their point of view.
Oh, that's good.
See it from their point of view, and you'll understand.
Right. It goes back. I had a mentor of mine, and I know it's been repetitively said, but it's like that seek to understand, not to be understood.
Yeah.
Comment. We talk about
Because
that a lot.
life teaches us if we're willing to listen. There's so much. Everyone can teach me something, from the coffee barista to anything. Like when I worked in the film industry, my work ethic came from being a production assistant, working hard, and being at the bottom of the totem pole. I enjoy production. Even when I do an interview, when they're setting up the cameras, I start working. I'm like, what else would you do?
We're like, what's that light look like?
They're looking at me kind of like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh man, I'm still. If I had the chance to work on a set, I would do it because I love it. Maybe.
That's the hush hush project. That's the.
Like, hey, wait a minute.
You can do that. Yeah.
All I have to do is just call someone and says, hey, does anyone want a PA? I just want to get out of my system.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you
I
go.
want to get out of my system. I don't have to do it. All because I have that idea. I'm like, ooh.
Look at you, just lit up.
I know, right? That's like an idea right there. Just kidding.
And we got it on camera.
Whatever just lit up in me, that's exactly like whatever answer, like what in life is gonna make you light up like that?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's phenomenal.
Got it.
I can't thank you enough for this. Like, I'm like this. I'm leaning in closer and closer. I'm like, give me more. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh,
yeah,
appreciate it.
really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
we're honored. Absolutely honored.
Well, for me, the whole point of all this work is to enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
And we enjoy life by enjoying being ourselves.
Yeah.
Life is sometimes unfair. Life is sometimes a nightmare. But, the beautiful thing about life is that we give ourselves time to heal from those wounds. And it gives us the chance to create harmony in our own life if that's what we want.
Yeah.
For as long as we're alive, anything is possible, including healing the wounds that divided us, including healing the wounds that made me reject myself. And it'll
Absolutely.
be true for as long as we say yes to them until we change our mind and go in a different direction.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
And there's. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I felt like I cut you off.
Your life to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to do with your life.
Yeah. That's
Absolutely.
phenomenal.
So where do we send people, and how are we gonna, to be able to support you, support that mission, and allow people to hear these lessons? What's the best way for everyone to find you? Where would you direct them?
And what are you going to name that new production thing that you're doing?
Well, they can find us on our website, miguelruiz.com. That's my father's website. That's our home base. I have my own, which is Miguel Ruiz Jr. miguelruizjr.com. Those are our home bases. And of course, we're in social media and Instagram and all that thing. So that's our home base. And you can find out our books anywhere. In regards to production, we'll find out.
Love it.
Well, it's one of those things like, I'm in a relationship, that my wife, and so me and my wife will sit down together and go over that one. I'm like, if someone has a production where they need a PA. But I realized that that's not even an abstract thing. That's actually all I have to do is just reach out and call.
Yeah.
And I could probably get a gig. Wow.
I like it.
That's the thing about life. My father-in-law asked me how do I do it, and I say I'm just enjoying life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's phenomenal.
But my main responsibility is still my family, my wife and kids, and we co-creating together. So we look for those things that allows us to engage.
Yeah, yeah, and you said that earlier, which I thought was beautiful. Is you're a father and then a husband, which that's so huge, just amazingly huge. And then when you're like, before I do this, I have to talk. So I mean, you're co-creating, which is that's how you keep that healthy, happy relationship.
How old are your kids now?
10 and 12.
10 and 12. And I just.
And the funny thing is, I say parenting before marriage. And this example, my main job is being a father and a husband. It's because me and my wife have the same exact job. We both answer the exact same way. Our kids. But because we love each other, that's where we're at. My love for my wife lasts for almost 14 years.
Wow.
We've evolved, we've grown together, and we are together because we want to be together. And that's what makes our love evolve and grow. I get to know who she is, and right now we both have the same goal. But when the kids are at school and we're both at home and we both have a moment, we just sit back, turn on the television, bring in our cup of coffees, sit down on the couch, hold hands, and just start talking.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's been, we have that connection. We do our very best to not create, I have to, this thing. Like we realize where we're at, and we transition. And of course, when we get date nights, we get them. But we love each other.
That's beautiful.
That's great. I'd like to acknowledge you for that, because that's how my dad was. He would always work out of town. He'd travel. We lived in We ended up in Bakersfield, and he had traveled to LA and up to San Francisco a lot. But one thing that he did was he sacrificed the position that he had when we started going through our sports in junior high and high school to make sure that he never missed one of mine or my sister's games. So, I mean, your kids, very blessed to be in that position to have parents that did that, because it means, like, now looking back on it, it's like there's a lot of people where their parents weren't showing up for things, but but to know that type of work and sacrifice that someone does for you it means a lot. So congratulations, just acknowledging on that.
Well, I couldn't do it without my wife.
Right.
I couldn't be touring, I couldn't be writing, I couldn't do any of these things without her.
That's phenomenal. Yay.
Yeah.
It's a team effort. In fact, she gave me a deadline, like if you haven't done it by this time, you need to transition. And luckily enough, I got the first book right. It's just one of those things, like our relationship works by having an open communication with one another and the willingness to see each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with that willingness and that willingness to listen, we evolve together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like, for
beautiful.
example, right now I'm up in the bedroom because she's downstairs working out. And like I told her, right, here's the compromise. I'll go upstairs and I'll sit in the bedroom here, and she goes and she's downstairs making as much noise as she wants to. So I'm gonna be respectful to stay up here and
Yeah.
in the space and all that. So it's
Aw.
constantly cooperating.
That's
phenomenal.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you
We-
so much. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honored. Okay.
God
Bye.
bless.
Thank
Bye
you.
guys, have fun, enjoy.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.